My guest this evening has an inspiring story to share about how she rose up from a childhood of poverty and chaos into prosperity and success. I'm Beth Genley. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you, Beth.
I'm glad you're here.
Yes, it's a pleasure and an honor.
So, Sarah, I understand that you now have a degree, a master's degree and a bachelor's degree, and you've been working in healthcare administration in the state of Washington for a number of years and making a difference. But you had to climb up out of a lot of difficulty. Can you share a bit of that story with us?
Absolutely. Happy to share my story, Beth, and in hopes that it'll also help others recognize their potential and what is possible for them to achieve.
Like that.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I grew up in poverty, a very unstable upbringing. We moved around multiple times, if not several times a year, as I was growing up. So when I was in actually first grade, I ended up getting held back. And that was the first time I had ever experienced any, type of failure. And I took it personally at that point that, there was something wrong with me. Now
As kids do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I can see that it had it was more to do with the instability in my home life at the time. But I ended up moving from school to school several times. So when I was in first grade, I was held back. I then went to another school that bumped me forward.
In first grade still?
Second grade.
Second grade,
And
okay.
then I went to another school that held me back. And then I went to yet another school that bumped me forward. So there were, a lot of, back and forth and moving and switching schools. So
wow.
Yeah. By the time I was in middle school, I had been to over a dozen different schools.
I can't even imagine. That's
Yeah.
so difficult to keep straight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I never really had an opportunity to be successful in school growing up. And I didn't think I was a good student. I didn't think I was smart. And it was, it was a bit of a challenge for me. I learned what it was like to be the new person.
Over and over and over again, it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that sounds really tough. And so if you were constantly failing and struggling to sort of find your place, make new friends again, right? How did that work out for you as you got into junior high and high school?
Yeah, it was a challenge because, as soon as I would make friends, it would seem like we would move again. And I never really understood what success was. And then when I was going into the 8th grade, I was applied for a school. It's an alternative school. And I was being interviewed. They only had a few slots available. And so I was being interviewed by this teacher. His name was Jeff. And one of the questions that he asked me, which is a question, it stuck with me to this day. He said, "Why should we pick you? Out of all the people in this room, and knowing that there's only a few spots that we have available, why you?" And I tell you what, I was stumped. I did not know what to say or how to answer that question. Why me? And so, kind of dumbfounded, I asked him, "Well, what would you say if you were me?" And he said, "If I were you, I would say because I want to be successful." And at the time, I didn't know what that means. But I tell you, I took his words and I hung on to them. And they became ingrained in the fabric of who I was. I wanted to be successful. And I didn't know exactly what that looked like. And I didn't know the path that would take me there. But just, I grabbed onto those words and I held on to them.
Oh, wow. It sounds like almost like a lifeline kind of experience for you. And how long were you in that school? And how did your experience of school change while you were there?
Yeah, so I was in that school for a short time.
Okay. So it wasn't the end of your chaotic journey there.
No, it wasn't. But I tell you, a seed was planted.
Uh-huh.
A seed was planted that would grow. I'd like to tell you that from that point on, it was smooth sailing. But that's not the case.
Uh-huh.
I ended up getting pregnant when I was 16 years old and dropping out of school.
Oh, that is such a classic story. There are so many people who have this story, but many of them don't go on to get a bachelor's and a master's. So I'm really interested to hear how this worked out for you. So you have dropped out of school. You're at home with the kiddo.
Absolutely.
Are you single at this point?
Yeah, and I go back to school.
Ah.
So I try to go back to high school with my baby with the help of the Head Start program. There was an early Head Start program that was able to provide on-site childcare while I was going to school. And then I found out that I was pregnant again, a second time. And I ended up dropping out of high school yet again.
Mm-hmm. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So your kids were a year apart?
They are 19 months apart.
Okay, all right. And so now you don't have a diploma, and you have 2 kids.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
I could see the cycles of poverty repeating right before my eyes. And again, I knew that I wanted better. I knew that I deserved better. I knew that my children deserved better. And I knew that it was going to be up to me to provide a better life for them.
Mm-hmm. So how did you solve that? What did you do to get from, I need to be home with my kids, or somebody needs to be home with the kids, and where am I going to get the money for that, to where you are now?
Yeah. Well, I enrolled in a Job Corps program. It's called the Pivot program, and it's for young women between the ages of 16 and 24. And in addition to helping them finish high school or get their GED, they also provide career training, vocational training. At that time, I trained in business and computer technology. And really, going to that Pivot program was a game changer for me.
In what way?
I learned a lot. So in addition to the technical skills, which I think are very important, and I have learned to lean on them a lot, I also learned soft skills. And the soft skills I learned, first and foremost, was how to dress for success. And that was huge. When I dressed, I recognized that, people would treat me in a different way. And I learned how to rise up and to embrace this new professional image as a young woman. It really gave me a lot of confidence.
So the way that people treated you up to that point had not helped to build your confidence, with the exception of this one teacher who'd asked you this crucial question. But then when you just changed how you dressed, and maybe how you carried yourself a little bit with those nice clothes on,
Absolutely.
you got different feedback.
Yes. I also learned interview skills, how to have a great handshake, how to maintain good eye contact. A lot of the little things I think that might get overlooked, a lot of the social skills that I needed to be successful. And really, I think it's a lot of those soft skills that I learned that have really helped propel me to get to where I am today.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the philosophy of the Pivot program was? We haven't really talked about this, but I'm just curious, what brought them, what was their reason for doing that kind of work?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Pivot program was actually founded in 1996, and it started out as a partnership between Portland Public Schools, the DHS Teen Parent branch, and Job Corps. So those 3 entities were able to come together and put together a program to help young mothers be successful. And that was really how it started. It has since, grown and evolved over time.
Sure.
And still exists today, helping young women be successful. The focus has shifted a little bit from teen parents to just, women in general.
Okay, all right. But it was a teen parent program for you at the time. So so this is like a major moment in your life where you're beginning to learn some success skills and what success feels like, or at least what confidence feels like in some way, I think it's a good place for us to take a break for a moment. And when we come back, we'll get the rest of your story.
Fantastic.
Stay with us.
Welcome to an opportunity to take the next step of your professional speaking journey. I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever wished you were a star in a television show? Or at an event where the media is interviewing bystanders and you are wanting to be picked to give your opinion of the event? Or even in the smallest sense, you're at a sports game and secretly hope that your smiling face would appear on that big jumbo screen TV? But the jumbo screen always finds the fans with the painted faces. And you think to yourself, maybe next time. Well, what if I can offer you a chance to be on TV? Would you take it? That is what I want to offer you now. I'm Dottie Love, Associate TV Producer and Director. Toastmasters International is one of the largest organizations whose mission is to help improve your speaking skills. And District 7 is expanding your opportunities to do speaking via television. We have 4 fully equipped television studios and TV Toastmaster broadcasts to over 500,000 homes, plus a YouTube channel. Who knew? We want to invite you to take advantage of using media and television, either in front or behind the scenes. Let me share a few options that you have. First, you can be a guest on a show. Highlight your business or hobby or your community interest. Anything you're passionate about. Be a featured guest. Secondly, you can train to be a host on an ongoing TV segment. We will train you for that. Third, what about creating your own talk show? We will train you for that as well and give you access to a community media studio to do just that. Or lastly, be behind the scenes, either running a camera or editing shows. You decide which avenue is best for you, and our TV Toastmasters team will help you to navigate to get the most out of your media experience. Personally, I've done them all. I started as a guest, went to hosting, up to directing my own TV show. I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell you this to impress upon you that your personal growth with Toastmasters is directly related to what you take advantage of. And I encourage you to be bold in looking for opportunities to stretch and grow. If this intrigues you, or if you have club members who you think that might be interested in this, please contact us here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Dottie Love, and you can reach me or any of us in the TV Toastmasters family at the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on the web. Our website is 7512.toastmastersclub.org.
Welcome back. I'm Beth Genley, and I'm here with Sarah Harper. And Sarah, when we left off, you were a single mom with 2 small children, and you were just beginning to learn some job skills and some confidence. Take us on from there.
Yes, absolutely. So the Pivot program was the first time that I actually got to taste what success is. And I know we had talked about before the break how I had that teacher plant the seed about wanting to live a successful life. Well, Job Corps gave me the opportunity to see what was possible for me. When I started, I first focused on my academic skills, and I got my GED. And then shortly after completing my GED, I was able to focus full-time on my vocation, which again was business and computer technology. So I was able to learn all the, the different computer skills, typing skills, everything that I would need to be able to work in an office setting.
Did they do parenting classes as well for you?
Absolutely, yes. In addition to, the academic and the vocational training, and the career support, we also were just wrapped around with parenting classes, nutrition classes, you name it. There was a lot there.
Wow, that sounds like a really wonderful program. I'm glad it's still going. So where did you go from there?
Yeah, funny that you ask. So one of the things about Pivot too that I wanted to share is that's where I first discovered my love of public speaking.
Oh, how cool. And why?
Yeah. At graduation, I was able to give a speech. And that was my first time speaking in front of a live audience. And I just loved it. It ignited something in me, and I knew that I just wanted to do more of that.
Beautiful. So did you do it for them, or did keep going?
Yeah.
I want to hear more.
Yeah, absolutely. After completing the program, I was actually hired on, and I worked in the Health and Wellness Center. I actually worked there in health and wellness for 5 years. During that time, I was able to organize this whole health and wellness program where I would bring in monthly speakers. I would create opportunities for students to get out in the community, different service learning projects. There was a lot of opportunity for me to continue to develop my speaking skills, as well as partner with other organizations in the community.
I'm thinking you got to see a lot of young women who were in similar situations to what you had been in, to kind of give back or help them move out of their difficult situations as you had been helped.
It was very rewarding. So I was able to go from being a mentor, moving on, and I actually became a teacher at the program as well.
Oh, lovely.
So when I was at Pivot working, I went on and went to college, which was something that wasn't really thought possible at that time for me or for people in my family. And I went and I finished my associate's degree at Portland Community College. After I finished my associate's, I moved on and got a bachelor's in healthcare administration from Concordia University. At this time, it was kind of serendipitous that the Pivot Job Corps program had just launched a new vocation in medical office support. So in addition to offering business and computer technology, general office administration, there now was this specialty program to help people prepare for careers in the medical field. And it just worked out that when I finished my bachelor's degree, I was able to come and work as a career and technical training instructor at the Job Corps Center.
Beautiful. That's just beautiful. And so I'm just imagining your kids must be, what, 5 and 7 at this point in your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. At this time, I want to say they are 8 and 9.
Wow. And so they're watching you. They're watching you take your lives to a really different place than where you started when you were a high school dropout with 2 small kids and on your own. Wow. Yeah. So I understand you're pretty passionate about this Pivot program and Job Corps. Can you talk a little bit more about how people can support that?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's very important that, when we look at what it takes for young people to be successful, that we look to vocations and trade programs and those opportunities. College is important, and it's an important part of my path, but it's not necessarily right for everyone. And where my children are today, I actually have one that took the more, traditional college path, and he is doing wonderful. He is in his 3rd year. He's at Washington State University, finishing up his bachelor's degree right now. But the second child that I mentioned, because I had the 2, she went a vocational route, and she did 2 years of dental assisting, and now she'll be 19 next month, is working as a full-time practicing dental assistant and is doing very well. So both of my children are very successful, and I couldn't be prouder of them and where they're at today. But I think it's important that we look to, the role that trade schools and vocational schools have in helping to prepare that next generation of workers.
I've heard a lot of talk about how trade schools may be more important with jobs coming up than any others because knowledge work can be outsourced, but working on my teeth, you got to do where my teeth are. Right? You can't send that to India or wherever. It needs to be in town. And if you're going to work on my plumbing, same difference. You have to have a plumber in my house working on my plumbing because you can't send that to some other country either. So
Yeah,
it seems like there's a lot of
absolutely.
opportunity and a lot of need.
And
Yeah.
yes, and you're right. I mean, there are those hands-on type things that type of education that I really think is valuable in the service that we can provide within our community setting. And I did go on and get a master's degree, as you know, and my education has helped open up a lot of opportunity. But I really cannot underemphasize the importance of programs like Job Corps and other vocational training in helping, bring up that next generation of workers. For me, it's so important at this point in my life that I help pave the road for others.
How are you doing that?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you asked. I am passionate about working with people to help them recognize their potential, to believe in their dreams, to challenge any limiting beliefs that they might have, that may stem from their family or their upbringing, limiting beliefs on what's possible for them. And I enjoy working with people one-on-one. I also, with my love of speaking, I love to go out and meet with groups, youth groups, to help share my story, to inspire. But really at this point, I recognize when I'm working with people, it's not so much about me. I've been able to demonstrate a lot in my life with what I've been able to achieve, but really it's about them. And I have to tell you, Beth, nothing excites me more than when I see that spark. When I see that spark in another person and I see them just get genuinely excited, that excites me.
Oh, sure, I can see that. And then you get to kind of transfer that vision of success as something that's possible and something that can fit the person, I would think, rather than trying to fit some kind of cookie cutter mold. Because I think that's one thing that people get afraid of when they think of success, is that it has to look a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't want to say, oh, well, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But I have overcome a lot.
Yes.
And I think the story that I have has a lot of weight to it. But again, I think sometimes when we're working with people, it's important to help them recognize, what their passions are, what their interests are. More so than just, going out to make money, right? To make ends meet. But, it's about what makes you come alive? What impact do you want to have in the world? What's going to make you happy?
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in favor of happiness. It's one of my core beliefs. I'm totally in favor of happiness, and I didn't used to be, but that's a story for another day. I always thought you had to be successful first and then get to the happiness, and now I think it's kind of the other way around.
And I've learned that
Yeah.
success looks different for other people, right? What success looks like for me and what success looks like for you isn't necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of room. So if people want to reach out to the Pivot program, how would they find more information on that? Let's start
so
there.
Pivot is a Job Corps program located in Northwest Portland. Again, that program is specifically for young women. There are also programs, that are co-ed, and so you could go online I believe that we will be providing the link
Yes,
to the Pivot site.
Yes.
So please click on that link to learn more.
Okay. And then if people want to reach out to you to hear you speak or to find out more about how you help people one-on-one, what's the best way to reach you?
Yes. I am an active member of Speakers with Spirit in Vancouver, Washington. We meet every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. at the Kingsway High School upstairs on the second floor there. So you can come and meet with me. I would love to meet with you personally. So please come check out our Toastmasters group. You can also reach me by email at sharpermba@gmail.com. Again, I love to be active in the community and give talks to youth. And also to work with people one-on-one.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really glad you were here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Beth.
And I'm Beth Genley. I hope you'll come back for more with TV Toastmasters.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Harmon. I'm a member of TV Toastmasters. In this club, we have an opportunity to practice speaking before the camera as well as running the equipment room. If you're interested in being interviewed on TV Toastmasters or becoming a member, please go to toastmasters.org and look for us, or simply search for TV Toastmasters on the web.